Hey everyone, we're here back for another video. We haven't done a video in a little bit of a minute here, but we have the brand new Xray XB4D 23. So we're gonna unbox this brand new car. I'm gonna build it. This is gonna be my personal car here, and I'm updating from the XB4D 21. So let's talk about some of the differences as we open it up. Let's see what this kit has to offer us. So like I said, this is going to be the dirt car, so the D model. The one thing that we're gonna look for in the dirt car is going to be that center diff. That's the big difference versus the slipper clutch. So let's see what we got going on here. Ba-da-bum. So in Xray fashion, we get the certificate of authenticity. So it just specifies that you did buy an Xray kit directly from Xray. We get the manual and a sticker sheet. So if you haven't seen any one of our videos in the past about these Xray manuals, probably bar none, one of the best manual in the market. They also include, like I said, a sticker sheet there, Xray decal sheet. You're gonna get your window masks for the new body. Other things you're gonna get is this kind of, I'm gonna call it a road map. It's a little bit bigger than usual. It's usually only one page, but they actually made it as a quad fold here. So you're gonna get your exploded views on one side, and then on the back side of that, you're also going to get all of your optional parts and part numbers. And they say in the corner if they are an optional part or if they come with a kit. The one thing to watch out for on these Xray cars is both the XB4C, so the carpet edition, and the XB4D will be listed. So you gotta watch each individual page. So let's open up the manual and see what we get here. So opening up the manual, like I said, the Xray manuals are out of this world nice. They are so good to build, so easy to build. Everything is all color. The one thing that you do have to watch out in the carpet and the dirt kits are going to be pages that are just blue. So this page right here is carpet only. Pages that are going to be blue and orange are dirt and carpet, and there's going to be some pages down here when we get into center diff and things like that that are dirt only. So the other cool thing is they give you pretty much everything you need to know about, you know, what pins you need to replace the drive shafts, things like that. Just like everybody else, they were kind of the ones that started actually putting in there how much your diff should weigh. They also give you a width of the diff so you don't have to shim it. If it's too narrow or too wide, you can correct it with the tightness of the actual diff cup and the ring gear. So really nice stuff there. Xray is out of this world good for those items. So there's not a whole heck of a lot that changes when it's going to be coming into some of these stuff. For my 21 car, there's a whole bunch of changes, but from the 22 onward to the 23, there's not as much. So one thing that changes from my 21 is the new servo bracket. So it's just 2 aluminum arms and this flat, skinny carbon fiber brace that holds the 2 posts together so they can't walk and move and you don't put stress on those bottom screws. So that's that guy right there. There's going to be our, essentially, all of the packing material, the new ESC tray and plate. You're gonna get your motor mount. Looks like this is gonna be like our final assembly kind of a bag. There's some shock standoffs, some rod ends for doing the drag link by the looks of it, and some odds and ends in that bag. New shock bag. So these shocks are 2 mil shorter in front body length and shaft length from the 21. They are the same going from the 22 to the 23, however. So in this you get the nice gold anodized shock bodies, chrome shock shafts, so it's not an upgrade on the Xray, Delrin pistons, guides, all of that good stuff in there, spacers and everything else you need. They run some nice O-rings. A good option for an O-ring is these are the 2.1 millimeter O-rings for thickness. The 2 mils, so the 97, 20, 30 part number are by 2 millimeter, and they tend to give the shock a little bit more freeness, not as much stiction. So that's a good upgrade. That's something I'm going to be doing to these shocks when I build them. So that is kind of more of an on-road thing. That's the standard O-ring for all the on-road stuff. Set of white aero disc wheels, fronts and rears there for us. So this looks like just a straight up bulkhead build here, front or rear. So another thing that changes while I have this outdrive is on the 21 car, they didn't use dog bones. They actually used a universal that keys into the front or rear pinion. Now they're using dog bones. I think the 22 also has this. So that was another change from the 21 to the 22 or 23. Other thing that you've been probably noticing is everyone has this essentially packaged by, and they give you all the information you need if you are missing a part or a piece. So the Xray quality, even in packaging their products, is very, very nice. Getting into the center drive line, we got our 2 new dog bones, well, for me anyway, and we also get our center diff and motor mount, the front center diff mount, and then in the cup you actually put this O-ring on the end of the drive shaft inside the cup, so the drive shaft isn't clanking around. It takes up some of that play and takes away some noise. You get your carbon fiber battery tray and a couple other little odds and ends in here. So that's something that's changing for me as well. Xray also on their 10 scale 4-wheel drive buggies use a servo saver setup, more like you would see on a standard 8 scale car. So the biggest thing with that is you can run a aluminum servo horn without the fear of actually stripping your servo or anything like that, because now that spring is going to open up when you take a really hard hit. So I don't think anything changes in here. Looks like the same rack that we got in previous models, and all the same stuff there. So some shims and spacers, all the steering rack components. So you're gonna get your posts and some extra arms and bell cranks and things like that. So nothing really changes there for us. So this is the main reason that we do buy the dirt car, is this center differential setup right here. So they're using all plastic gears and plastic cross pin. The one nice thing that I really like about the Xray car that a lot of people have also kind of switched to is the spur gear itself. If you ever do strip one or want to change the tooth count, you do not have to actually open your diff up and put different outdrives on it or anything like that. So this plate here stays 100% bolted to the cup on the case. Flip it around here. So this part stays 100% bolted to the cup, and all you have to do is just change your spur gear, and you don't have to worry about refilling or topping up oil, anything like that. So really, really handy. The standard spur that comes with this kit, I do believe, is an 81. What's it gonna say on it? Probably does, but it's probably on the back side. Like 99.9% certain it's an 81. How about I just open it up? Yeah, 81, and the other tooth is a 78, and that's optional. Moving on, another diff. This looks like it's probably the rear shock tower. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of holes for the rear wing mount and a couple other things like that. So this is all gonna be rear end components there. Nice thing with the Xray that the 21 moving forward has is the split bulkheads. So if you ever wanted to change diff oil or anything like that, you just pull the whole top section out with 4 screws, and you can change diffs, things like that. Super, super nice. Really, really easy. Next thing is, looks like front and rear diff assembly. So you're getting all the stuff you got normally with the 20 or the 21 or the 22, all the same stuff, the 40 tooth ring gears. So if you want, one thing that I know some of the team drivers are doing is they're switching the rear ring gear to a 41 tooth instead of a 40. So you actually underdrive, so slow down the rear tires to make up for the difference in outer diameter of the tires. It also really tends to lock in the car. My 21 currently has that, so I might try it and just see how that plays out. So we'll have a link in the description to some of the parts and pieces that we personally put in our builds if you would like to check that out. Next up is the bearings. A lot of kits have gone this way where they put all the bearings in one package. It looks like now though they're put in 2 different packages to keep some other things separate. These bearings you can see by this packet right there. They're oiled, so you don't have to worry about blowing grease out or anything like that. But if you really want to put your own oil or a different style bearing, you can always blow them out and fix it up and change it up that way. So this is gonna be our oil bag. They always include the Huddy graphite grease. That grease is pretty phenomenal. It's probably one of the better graphite greases or black greases that we've used in the past. You're gonna get shock oil, diff oil. So it looks like they're using 500 CST, and what's this one? 500 and 600, so 600 front, 500 rear, and then 7,000 front and rear diff, and 100,000 for the center. It's pretty bang on what we're already using. So just in case you drop something, lose something, Xray does give you an extra little hardware pack of the common stuff. So that's gonna be like the little guy there, the button head. Say that's like your shock cap for the vent screw or a hex pin. You get the E-clip, couple other countersunk button head screws. The E-clip's probably the big one. I would highly recommend keeping those on a magnetic tray or mat just to keep that in check so they're not flying across the house. Looks like we're rocking the same springs we were in the past, so 2-dot front, 2-dot rear springs. If you kind of want to lock it in running high bite clay, you can change this up. These are still 12 mil. They have not kind of followed the trend of AE, anybody like that are running 13 mil. Getting to some of the last bags here. This is a pretty large one. So this is looks like to be some spine stuff. So our carbon fiber rear brace, our front spine, some pills and inserts. There's our front spine. We're gonna get all of our drive shafts in here, our hexes, hinge pins, battery lockdowns. So these guys don't use a strap or anything like that. They use these turn lockdown posts. Super, super nice. They call them no tweaks, so it doesn't actually lock the chassis into place or anything like that. So you can actually turn them, take your battery out, and if you're running a standard pack, you would run them this orientation. But if you wanted to run a low pro battery, you flip it like this. And it's really, really easy, really, really nice to change. By far, some of the nicest stuff we've worked with in a long time. So nothing that way changes for us, as I lose a spacer. So getting into, looks like the last bag here. This is all our arms. This is gonna be our sway bars, our front and rear ABCD blocks. So this car, they use the same C and D block on the carpet and the dirt car. So you can actually flip the block up or down, depending on the roll center you wanna change for if you wanna say run on carpet or if you're running on dirt. So that's that arrow there. So that'll dictate if you wanna run a high roll center or a low roll center. Really, really cool stuff. They're gonna be including the long rear arms. Another thing we've kind of played with here in Saskatoon and on our local dirt track is actually going to the narrow arms and actually widening the pivot on the inside of the C and the D block just to lock the rear end a little bit more. And that's been a pretty positive change for us. Last thing that hasn't really changed is the wing. This is gonna be the rank wing, same wing that was on the 21, 22, or 23 car. You can cut it in multiple different positions depending on how you wanna set it up. But these are going to be the big, big changes and the one reason that I went to the new chassis over buying the parts and pieces. So what changes big, big, big time from my car, which is the 21 to the 22 to this brand new 23 is this chassis right here. So this chassis, this is the front end, this is the back end. So this chassis now has been milled quite a bit in this section right here. So on the old cars, they would actually come out almost to a square point. And the 1 kilo that we were getting in this section here is a ton of dirt and debris was always getting built up and the chassis was always digging in on the ground. So as you're coming up the face of the jump, if you have a chassis that has essentially more material, it's gonna slow down and really dig into the jump. So what actually did is they actually edged this, so chamfered this edge, so it's more on the angle of your jump surface, and they milled it all backwards. So what that's gonna do for you is on the face of the jumps, you're not gonna be digging in the chassis, and even on flat landings, you're still not gonna be digging in that chassis, essentially scrubbing speed or taking away pop. We noticed a lot of the Xray cars, until we did a 23 conversion on a 22 with one of the team drivers, the cars didn't have as much pop over the jumps. They're pretty dead. They tend to fly really, really low. They had the distance, just they didn't have the pop. So when we changed this 23 chassis, that pop came back and everything was good. So one thing that does also change with that chassis is now gonna be the new mud guards. So they're also a little bit different in their design and how they mold to the front end of that chassis. So you're gonna have pretty much the same edge following along there. Everything is gonna look really, really nice. You're not gonna have any protrusion or anything like that with you know, changing the chassis, but not the mud guards. So these are gonna be the hard mud guards. These are also available in a medium compound. And last but not least, the body. So this body also changes. It has a little bit of a different angle in here to mimic that side guard and mimic the chassis angle now. So everything else kind of stays the same, other than they edged this in and they also shrunk this rear end to save a little bit of weight in the back. And you can see it's not as prevalent in the back, but there's just that little chamfer, little mill. I don't even know if the camera will pick that up, but it's right in that corner. They just edge it ever so slightly and take away a little bit more material. So I'm super excited to build this car. This will be my 5th or 6th X-Ray build. But what we're gonna do after the build is done, since I do have the XB4D 21, we're gonna have a side-by-side comparison, and we'll really show you the differences of how everything looks side by side, and you can see them both built. Like I said, down in the description below, I'll have all the extra things that I would do to my personal build, some of the extra bling factors that I install. But thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Hopefully this video helps you, because I know there's not too many videos out yet on this new brand new XB4D 23. So if you have any questions, comments, throw them down below in the comment section and I'd be happy to answer them for you. And don't forget to like, comment, hit the bell, and subscribe. We really do appreciate it. So we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.